are here for the breakfast. I'm so glad to see you all because it is a special economic development breakfast, and you are here today to learn a lot. We have some excellent speakers, and I'm going to ask the elected officials to please stand so we can acknowledge them and thank them very much for being here this morning. Elected officials, would you please stand? Excellent. And again, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce staff for their hard work in getting this set up and being there, and the ambassadors. And I want to recognize our sponsors for this event. We have the Event Spot and Gabby's Grill are two of the sponsors. And I would like to invite up Ken Foote from the Event Spot to just say a couple of words if you have a moment.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're all here today. Nice, warm morning. I was asked to say a couple things about the travel ID, but first I've got to redeem myself from my joke from last time. So, Ben, you remember. So given, no, I'm not going to say it again. Given the season, Valentine's is coming up, what did one oar say to the other oar? How about we make a little romance? Oh, come on. All right, I'm going to fifth grade jokes next time. Anyways, thank you. Welcome. We're really glad everybody's here, enjoying the venue. Thanks to the Chamber for using the Event Spot. We're honored to do so, and hopefully we'll continue that. Just Marnie asked me to mention that the travel ID, which is getting a lot of press lately, is due this coming October. So it used to be next year. Well, guess what? Now it's this year. So if you have any questions, our folks next door, Footwork, will answer any questions you have. There's a bunch of federal requirements in order to get it. It's not daunting, but it's one of these things that we have to scan those documents in. So if you're unclear or not sure, you can go to our website at footwork.com or call any of our staff. We'll be glad to walk you through it and get you that travel ID. It's super simple. Just for clarification, the travel ID allows you domestic travel without having to bring your passport beginning October. So beginning October, you have to have that or your passport to board any domestic flight. Now, if you're going international, you still need your passport. So some of the confusion is the travel ID will not work internationally. But if you're going to go to Cincinnati or Florida or California, even jumping out of the airport here, you're going to have to bring either the travel ID or your passport to start your trip. But any questions, please ask us. Once again, enjoy your breakfast, and thank you very much for coming.
And thank you, the Event Spot, for their sponsorship, but also for such a great facility. We thank you. And also Gabby's Grill, who has prepared the food today. Jim Cabral, if you could come up for just a couple of words.
Hi, thank you. I prepared the food, but I didn't prepare a speech. So what's new at Gabby's Family of Restaurants? So the newest thing in our lives is we bought the iconic JB's restaurant, which is now the Prescott Junction. We bought that a few months ago, and that's moving in a good direction. So when you're in town, stop by and see us there. It's now part of our, whatever we are. Anyway, enjoy your breakfast today. Enjoy this beautiful day in Prescott Valley, Arizona.
And speaking of sponsors, we have a program sponsor today, Arizona's Hometown Radio Group, with Sanford Cohen, who I would like to come up and speak a couple of minutes. It's a personal favorite here. Come on up.
Well, thanks. I brought along with me a little piece of memorabilia, and we'll pass it around, give you a chance to look at it close up. This was the ribbon cutting on the first solar-powered FM radio station in the United States, and it was right here in Prescott Valley, Arizona. The solar power plant is still in operation at the top of Glassford Hill, and what that allows us to do is when we have a massive power failure, we are the only radio stations left on the air. It's a situation we certainly don't try to encourage. But thank you, APS. No, actually, and in the photo are the mayors of Chino Valley, Herb Voss, Jerry Wagner, the mayor of Prescott at the time, and Phil Beeson, who was the mayor of Prescott Valley. This picture was taken in 1986. So we were solar before most people even knew you could get energy from the sun. But I'll have more to say a little bit later on in my remarks, but I want to say thank you to the Chamber for allowing us to sponsor today's quarterly breakfast. Thank you.
And we really appreciate the program sponsors for the quarterly breakfast. We're always open. If you are interested in doing future breakfasts, just touch base with Marnie and we'll see if we can get you lined up for them. And we do have a fantastic panel of speakers today. No applause at this point. I just want to go through the list if it's okay. We're going to be hearing from CEO Marnie Uhl, CEO of the Prescott Valley Chamber, from Mayor Kell Palguta, and from Ben Huber, Economic Development Manager for the town of Prescott Valley, David Everson from Mandalay Homes, and we will be hearing again from Sanford Cohen from Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. And like I said, you're going to walk away with a lot of info. If you do have a few extra bucks just sitting in your pocket, don't forget the 50-50 with the ambassadors. They're still out there, and they would be happy to take your money during this breakfast. And I will go ahead and start and invite up our CEO of the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce, Marnie Uhl.
Well, just a couple of things to get this year started. 2020, a new decade. It's a census year. A lot of you have on your tables, well, everybody should have, about being counted. And as business people, I think we're responsible to educate our employees, staff, volunteers, the importance of being counted. So I understand cards are going to be going out in the middle of March, and answers are due back in by like the first part of April. It can be done either online, by phone, or you can go to the library and fill it out. Our Prescott Valley Library has librarians ready to help you out. About 10 questions. We talked about this back in October to kind of get everybody started on it. But it's vitally important when it comes to state and federal funding that we get our fair share. Our population since 2010 is what? Grown. And we've all seen that throughout the community. And we're going to hear a lot about that growth that we can look forward to in 2020 coming up in a little while with our speakers. But I can't stress that enough. And as business owners, managers, and leaders, to educate and let's get our fair share of that funding. In addition to that, our fair share of representation at our local, state, and federal level when we talk about our representatives, and it's in those in the House specifically, and our supervisors. So again, it's a big year with not only the census being done, but it is also a candidate year. It's an election year. And boy, that throws the chamber kind of right in the middle of things. And we do have some policies, and I'm going to share those with you because I want everybody to know up front that the Chamber of Commerce is nonpartisan and that we do support the election process. And that in doing so, we have what we call is a candidate classification of membership. And it's a requirement in order to be able to campaign, be able to put flyers in the newsletter, and actually utilize the chamber to get their message out because they're a candidate running for a particular office. That way we keep it fair. It's not like I'm giving one candidate an opportunity to come to a breakfast and pass a petition or say I'm a candidate for such and such without letting everyone do it. So that's our policy. So if anybody has any questions about that, I would be more than happy to talk to you about it. We do have several candidates that have already had taken advantage of that membership, and you will see their flyers and their information going out, and that's because they have paid for that privilege. And so that's put that out there because it's a big year, and we'll be talking about a lot of things, not only the candidates, but also the propositions that are starting to bubble up that we're hearing that'll be coming across our desk that we'll be sharing with you too. So it's all about education and actually empowering you to be educated on the issues, be educated on the candidates, because business leaders make the difference. So, and that's why we're all here. So, more on that. We got a new space. We had a grand opening and not ribbon cutting. We didn't even cut a ribbon, our own ribbon for our new space, Suite 105 over at the Chamber. And we were pretty excited. We've added 900 square feet. I got a shout out to my board, especially Jim Cabral, who drove that, designed it, and I think I should name it the Jim Cabral Boardroom because he felt the one we had was way small. And if you've ever, Jerry Dennison's taught at my business academy since we started, and she's nodding yes, it was very small, very compact. So we have a beautiful new space. So we invite you, if you haven't seen it, to come on over, and that it's available for members' use at any time. If you have a training, educational workshop, meeting that you want to hold in there, we'll have state-of-the-art big screen televisions, all networked. That's coming up pretty soon, but right now we do have the television screens in there. So if you have a PowerPoint, you can utilize that. So for Chamber members, there is no charge, but outside people, Chamber membership has its business. So you're eligible and welcome to take advantage of that. Just let us know and we can get you scheduled. Also, I'd like to introduce Alexis, brand new. Alexis Burkett has joined our staff now as our administrative office assistant. She is a graduate of Bradshaw Mountain High School. Go Bears! And also, she has her degree in business from Yavapai College. So she's was raised here locally for most of her life, and so she brings a lot of fun to the job and a new aspect that we needed desperately for another set of hands and eyes and help. So Alexis, welcome, and please give her a round of applause. And that being said, I also want to introduce, obviously, Gloria and Brady, who have continued to raise the bar and do so much good for the Chamber and working hard with our membership services and, in Gloria's case, upcoming events. So please give them a round of applause. I couldn't do it without them. And then my board of directors. And again, it's all about the leadership. It's business owners such as yourself that decide and say, I'm going to take on a little bit extra. And they guide the Chamber, set policy, and they've made some huge decisions and growth in the Chamber, and wouldn't have happened without them. So I want to recognize our second vice chair, Eric Strobel, and our past chair, Aaron Friedeveld, and our treasurer, Jim Cabral. As I mentioned before, leaders in the business community. And I'd like to bring up Eric real quick just to say a few words on behalf. Chris Graff was not able to be with us, so as one in line for leadership, I'm getting him used to speaking now.
So I walked in the door. No, this isn't a joke. Marnie goes, hey, you want to talk? And I'm like, sure, but not up here. And you know Marnie, she gets her way a lot of times, right? So here I am. No. 2020 is going to be a great year. The Chamber is really there to add value to the businesses here in the community. The new conference room, and Jimmy Cabral, I love that idea. Let's go with that. The Jimmy Cabral conference room. We'll call it JC. JC, right? But it's a great facility over there now, and it's really meant to give back to the businesses so the businesses then can use that. So take advantage of that because it has, some big screen TVs. Does not hold a candle to that, right? We got the big TVs in there and the PowerPoint, so it is going to be really, really nice. Who all in here is up for a great 2020? Yeah, I am too, and that is going to kick it off, and it is just a wonderful facility. So thank you, Marnie, for all you do for the Chamber, and again, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
A couple of other thank yous, as last year we worked on it, but I would like to thank our Chairman Circle members, Yavapai College and Cohen Construction are our premier members. We have APS, Finley Auto Group, Gabby's Family of Restaurants that has now grown a little bit more. Yavapai Regional Medical Center and Arizona's Hometown Radio Group are our platinum members. Thank you for that investment and that extra kick and push in the business community. Walmart, a gold member. Foothills Bank and Asphalt Paving and Supply are our silver members, and 1AZ Credit Union joins us as a copper member. So various levels of investment above and beyond membership, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that too if you're looking to reinvest in the business community through this year. That is something that we can sit down and chat about and make it to the best investment for your business and get the maximum exposure. And then one other thank you. Eddie, Channel 56, Mark and Eddie are with us all the time, and we appreciate them. This will go out on our YouTube channel once it all comes together. And I would like to thank and welcome Signals. They are here today as a media sponsor, and so we appreciate their participation. And I know that's going to go out. Guy Rogerson is here all over the world, right, Guy? That's what you told me. Okay, worldwide. All right. So again, we welcome you and thank you for being a part of us. And then the last but not least, these folks give so much time and energy and bring life and fun. And if you were here before 7, we really had some fun music waking everybody up, as our Chamber of Commerce ambassadors. And I would like them to stand and be recognized because they do give a lot of time for ribbon cuttings, grand openings, mixers, quarterly breakfasts. They're here on their own. And we can't thank them enough because they're priceless, as all of you are. And we appreciate you being here. And I have to echo Eric and say, let's have a great 2020, everyone, and kick this up into overdrive here in Prescott Valley. So thank you all for joining us.
Well, I want to thank Marnie for all the work she does on the quarterly breakfast. We spend some time brainstorming together. I'm Allison Flannery. I'm the chair of the breakfast and a volunteer for the chamber, and happy to do so. But it is a joy working with Marnie and the whole chamber. And I want to start out with our speakers, and who better to start out with than the mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, Kell Palguta, and he is going to speak about 2020 predictions.
Thank you, everyone. Kind of going to do things just a little bit different. I don't stand at the podium. I'm going to walk around, try to keep it a little livelier. We're going to do a PowerPoint. Hopefully, Eddie, you can keep up back there, and hopefully everyone else can keep up. So we're going to talk about Prescott Valley, of course, 2020, and we can't start talking about Prescott Valley without talking about the #1 council in Arizona. So, ladies and gentlemen, the majority of them are right here and a little bit back there, so please put a round of applause. The things that happen in Prescott Valley is thanks to them. They come to work every single day with an idea and a vision, and they work hard and tirelessly hours. And I mean, if anyone knows the vice mayor's schedule, it's chaos, and the number of hours she puts in and the number of miles she puts on the road is impressive. So amazing. Thank you. You guys will hear today a little bit of a theme. It'll be an underlying theme, and it won't be apparent at first, but at the end, we're going to kind of circle back around, and hopefully everyone can kind of understand what we're talking about. Brady, oh, here we go. So, hey, I know you can't read it, probably that part, but what makes Prescott Valley great? I want to hear. The people? Guy, what do you think? No, absolutely not. No. Listen to him, he's trying to, yeah. Him and I worked on that before we got here. He was my plant in the audience. I just had to find him, and that's where it was. Marnie nailed it, though, right? This is what it is. You. Every single person in this room makes Prescott Valley amazing. The entrepreneurial attitude, the going to work, the plan every day that you have to be better. Because no one in this room, I'm sure, says, you know what? I'm going to go to work today, and I'm just going to be mediocre. Or I might not even be. I'm probably not going to do anything. Like, who does that, right? Who shows up to work that way? No one, for the most part. I mean, Sanford sometimes, I've heard, has slept in his office once in a while, but other than that. But no, seriously, you go to work to make a difference. And that's the goal of Prescott Valley, is we have that attitude. We have that thought of what we're going to do to make things better. And that bleeds out into the community. So there's more people than just in this room, of course, but you're where it starts. So that's important. Today I'm going to talk about, this is interesting. I'm going to back it up. I had Kobe in my PowerPoint before Sunday. And the reason I'm talking about this and what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about things that happen that aren't on our stat sheet. And for those of us that are familiar with sports, and I know Sanford is a big sports guy. There's things that happen that don't make it to a stat sheet, right, Sanford? Things that aren't an assist or a rebound or points. But they're still important, right? They're still important to the team. And Kobe had that. And that's what we're going to talk about here. Things that don't make it to our stat sheet. I'm going to leave all the sexy numbers up to Ben. He's going to talk about that after. But these are things that we might not know are going on in Prescott Valley that make Prescott Valley so amazing. So, YMCA. This past year, we've made hoops and bounds in regards to the direction we're going to go for our YMCA in Prescott Valley. And that's huge. For anyone that's been in Prescott Valley a long time, they know that the closest thing to a YMCA is Prescott, and our citizens need more, and they deserve more. And thanks to staff and the community partners, we're able to get there. And we're not quite to the finish line yet, but at least hopefully we can see it. So that's something to look forward to. Post office. We've recognized that the post office is important, and this is more important that we are being recognized at a federal level, that Senator McSally, she came to Prescott Valley. She recognized that we had a need. We had something that was important to Prescott Valley and the citizens, and we are moving in that direction. So that's something that says a lot, not just about it being a post office, but about the attitude around us and the importance of Prescott Valley and how we're growing and how we're going to be better. Here's some other accomplishments we've had. We've had some major road projects get going, right? It's so interesting. I hear people say, we need better roads, or we need things that happen with roads. And then once we get roads going, it's like, gosh dang it, you got construction going on. Well, I don't know how people realize how roads can actually form, but it takes a little bit of work. And thanks to the hard work of staff, some major projects are in place. And although Sunset Lane is not completed, once it is going to go along the lines of creating that connectivity of Prescott Valley, to be able to go from the east side of Prescott Valley to the west side of Prescott Valley, for the most part, with sidewalks, with turn lanes, with bike lanes. And that's important for Prescott Valley. Being a newer town, we need to be able to provide that service to our citizens. So that's something to look forward to. Brady? All right, that sounds good. Another major accomplishment was the Boys and Girls Club here in Prescott Valley. And that came, yeah, give it up for Boys and Girls Club, right? We're gonna get to that. So the Boys and Girls Club, it came about, as I talked earlier, a community effort. People getting together, coming up with a plan, recognizing a need. And that's what created this. And that's why it was so important. And I cannot talk, I mean, I'm gonna talk to you just so you know about the Boys and Girls Club and how important it is. And this comes along with the Dancing for the Stars. You'll see some packets on the table. And I'm gonna do a plug here. Marnie, you knew it was coming? I knew it was coming. And I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't promote this. As some of you know, I'm a dancer for the Dancing for the Stars. They say it's a celebrity dance. I am neither a celebrity nor a dancer, so I don't know how I got selected for this. But nonetheless, all the money that's raised is going towards the Boys and Girls Club here in Prescott Valley. So, and Prescott and Chino. So keep that in mind. All the money stays local, and it is a huge event to help them out. And I cannot emphasize enough, Boys and Girls Club, it helps those kids, I call it upstream, that when we can provide them with some guidance and some support, so that when they make it downstream, they realize that there's some importance to their life and that the gentlemen over there in the uniforms aren't dealing with them for other reasons. So that's the importance there. We need to be able to get behind them. It is a community event, and it's a community staple to Prescott Valley. And if you haven't seen the building or what we've been able to do, Corner, Luce, and Robert, it is an amazing gymnasium. The Northern Arizona Suns are using it to practice. And you just go there 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, and you'll see these kids running around, and it just reminds me of being 9 years old. Reminds me of realizing how important or how fun it is to get a piece of pizza that you didn't get at home, and that you're there with your friends, and you had some guidance, and someone's helping you out with their homework, and it's because they care. And that's what the Boys and Girls Club does. And we need to make sure we try to do what we can to get behind that. So, Brady, I'm just gonna, this is a Snapchat of me practicing, just so you know, these are some of my moves for my dance. This is what I got going on. This is what everyone can expect. If you're gonna go to the event, this is part of it right here, so. I know, Larry, I don't know, Larry, have you seen this movie, Napoleon Dynamite? No, I figured it'd be like it would be, Larry, it's your equivalent to like Grease. Like if you were like, your age group would be like seeing Grease, okay? So that's what it is, all right? All right. So unsolicited question from the audience. What was it? Say it.
Who's your toughest competition, Mayor?
Who's my toughest competition? And here's a good thing, and this is what I'm gonna throw out there. The Boys and Girls Club, although it's competitive and we try to raise as much money as we can, right? I mean, it's tough work. You're going out there. No. So here's the thing, though. Yeah, I try to collect as much money and go out there and solicit it as much as possible, but it all goes into the same pot at the end of the day, you know? So it doesn't really matter who raises this or who raises that. It all ends up in the same spot, and that's what is so important about this. And am I competitive? Absolutely. But it's just, I'm just excited to know that our 10 people are gonna raise the most money ever. That's what my goal is there. So that's what makes it so important. So, are your moves, Anne-Marie, I got you up here on moves, are they gonna be pretty close to this? Way better, yeah, I figured that. Dr. Ryan, I'm not gonna lie, I am disappointed that Dr. Ryan is not here today, and please let her know that. So, as you notice, I don't even have the remote anymore. I'm just like clicking this at. An important thing, doesn't make the stat sheet. Prescott Valley, the 12th safest city in Arizona, right? Give that up. And it's not by accident. It's not by we just happen to have some good citizens, right? That's not how it goes. It has to do with a community effort. It has to do with our law enforcement. It has to do with the attitude that we put forward for Prescott Valley. I give it a challenge to the chief that we're going to make it in the single digits next year, and we'll see if it happens. But I think as a community, we can make anything happen. So that's what the importance of putting that stat up. We're going to talk about some parks. It's not often that a town or a city puts together a significant size park in their community. So anyone here been to Santa Fe Park? Yes? I seriously have driven by 10 times in the past maybe week, and there's been people utilizing the pickleball courts. I mean, they were out yesterday, and it was cold, and there was a line of people coming out the gate, and it says a lot. It says that the community is out there, they're excited, they're energetic, and they want to be a part of what we have to offer. And it's exciting to be able to open up a new park right on the corner of Glassford and almost near Spouse. We also were able to, in this past year, put together a couple new playground equipment, all-inclusive for Mountain Valley Park and George Anderson. So when we say all-inclusive, that means children of all ages. If they happen to be in a wheelchair, they happen to have some other challenges, they can participate in this playground equipment. And that's huge for Prescott Valley, because as I'm sure some of you can think back to when you were a kid, the playgrounds of death that were out there that weren't very fun, and we didn't quite know what we were going to get into, and usually involved us getting bruises and cuts and scrapes and stuff like that. So this is another opportunity, even if you don't have kids and you want to know the importance of Prescott Valley or we just think about what's important other than our regular lives, go to Mountain Valley Park, check out what's going on, just check out the joy of the kids that are out there having a good time. And that's why we do what we do in Prescott Valley. We increased our water pumping capacity to 7.2 million gallons of water a day. It's the most financial investment that we've ever had in the past 2 years. That says a lot too. Water's a hot topic, right? And hopefully this is a message to our citizens of Prescott Valley that we take water and water conservation serious, that we are going out every day. Staff is going out there coming up with a new idea, a new plan, whether it's an injection well, it's a new well to pump, that we are going to provide water for our citizens for generations to come. Not just next year, not 5 years, but generation after generation. So that's important for everyone to know. Ooh, here's one. Credit rating. We are at the highest credit rating for the town of Prescott Valley that we've ever had. We're AA+. And if you ask Mr. Tark, give it up. Yeah. Larry, what is our goal for next year? AAA. Always got to have a goal, right? We always have to be moving forward, and absolutely there's no doubt in my mind that we will get there. So that's says a lot about Prescott Valley, says a lot about council, and just being fiscally conservative and recognizing that we are counting every dollar and every cent and making sure it's being spent wisely. School district. We increased our role and our relationships with the school district. Oftentimes, and I'm sure there's some people in this room that may disagree, but the relationship between a town and a school is important, I believe. And it's important for the school district. And one of the reasons why I think it's important, next slide, Brady. We have 10 schools, 5,800 students, 800 employees that go. That's a significant number, I think, right? It plays a large role in the town of Prescott Valley. And I'm sure Mr. Hooper, he would agree that it also creates an economic driver in our community. And we need to focus on what we're doing in relationships in regards to our students. I just heard a stat literally this morning that Arizona is the second lowest in education in the country. So we're 49th. They included Washington, D.C. into that. Go to our next one. Predictions. This is important. I know Larry Tarkowski says he has a crystal ball in his office, and believe it or not, sometimes he's right on things, and he may have one. You know, I'm not lying. He might have a crystal ball. But we got to think about what's going to happen in 2020. And there's not many things that we can be certain about, but this. Republicans and Democrats will never get along in 2020. That's just not going to happen, right? We are going to have differences. And there's an importance to that because we can't have that ideology here in Prescott Valley. I tell people that the Republicans and Democrats, that they are a certain party. We need to all be a party of Prescott Valley because that creates that ownership that we need. If everyone has the same mindset of just having the party of Prescott Valley, we put Prescott Valley first. We put Prescott Valley first in everything we do, and we all want Prescott Valley to succeed. By a show of hands, who here wants Prescott Valley to fail? Just go ahead, raise your hand. No? No one? Okay. I'm glad we're all on that page. See how easy it was? We all agreed, right? It didn't matter. We were all the party of Prescott Valley right there. That's how it works. And we need to know that going forward into 2020, that we need to look out for ourselves in order to be better. We can't rely on Washington, D.C. to make things better for here in Prescott Valley. Governor Ducey is doing an amazing job for our state. But I'm pretty confident he's not lying in bed at night awake thinking, man, I sure hope Prescott Valley does well in 2020. It's just, he has a lot of things going on, right? We have to worry about us. We have to worry about how we're going to do things better and how we are going to be better. And that's the important part about being the party of Prescott Valley. The most reliable way to predict the future is to create it. Abraham Lincoln said that. It's interesting. I keep referencing back to Larry T. And Larry T. has this little sign in his office as well that has this. And I cannot emphasize that enough. We need to put the effort forward to make things better. So every single day, we need to focus on what we're going to do to be just a little bit better. And before we know it, come December 2020, we're going to be leaps and bounds ahead. So that's important. I'm going to wrap things up with a little quote that my dance partner, Jamie Prochnow, had sent over to me. And for those of you who don't know Jamie, she's an amazing woman, mother of 8 kids, a large number of she's involved in the foster program. You're nodding your head. I know you know who Jamie is. And she truly comes with this attitude. And her and I were talking about how to be successful. And it was just, bear with me, okay? It's going to be it's Attitude written by Charles Swindoll. It says, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures and successes, and what other people what other people think, say, or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for the day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. If we take that attitude every single day, we're not going to change what gets sent to us. We're not going to change, the curveballs that life throws. but we are going to change how we react to that. So I just ask that if we think about that every single time, we are going to be successful in 2020. As Eric said and as Marnie said, the future is looking bright for us. So with that being said, thank you, folks.
Really appreciate that pep talk, and a little more about Prescott Valley actual, some economic updates from Ben Hooper, who is the Economic Development Manager for the town of Prescott Valley.
All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. That sounds like a good plan. Well, here, we'll just... There we go. I like that. I like that one. All right, so folks, I want to talk to you a little bit today. We want to look back a little bit at 2019 and some of the new businesses that we saw join us. Just as a refresher, too, I focus entirely on commercial and retail business attraction. So when we're looking at these new businesses that are coming, it's within that vein and the new businesses that came through 2019. There we go. First one opened back in March was Pruitt's Fine Furniture. Now, this list is not meant to be an all-inclusive list. I picked these for specific reasons. We actually had 48 new commercial businesses open up in Prescott Valley last year, which is astounding. I'm going to highlight just a handful of them. One is no more important than the other. They all contribute to our vibrant economy. But first, Pruitt's Fine Furniture. I chose this because this is a great example of a store that was able to backfill 110,000 square feet of space. And you just don't really see that too often in today's retail landscape, to be able to utilize that much space. And Pruitt's has continuously reported strong sales, which is excellent to hear. I've actually heard that some of the other furniture stores in town saw their sales boost because Pruitt's came in. And so, you know, you might think to yourself, oh, well, a store comes in, they might put somebody out, and that's not usually how it works. Many times they complement one another. Brady? Next one, Ocean Blue Car Wash, opened up just over here off of State Route 69. There was definitely some stacking issues going on with the current location down the street on 69. That has alleviated those issues. And the reason I listed this is because it's a great example of a new build, which is kind of tough to do given the cost of labor, cost of material prices today. It's not always easy to get a new build done, and they were able to do it next door as well as some others. Mattress America over in the Glassford Hill Marketplace. This is one, there was a store, Aaron's, it's like a electronics, furniture rental, that type of thing. Mattress America was able to backfill that space when Aaron's found that it wasn't working for them. And this is just another example that when one business may find that, hey, you know, this isn't the place for me, there's somebody else that's ready to come in and fill that space. Arizona Downs. We've talked about this plenty. We've heard a lot, through last year, getting geared up for the horse racing season. We're doing so again over the next few months. I genuinely believe that Arizona Downs, as we continue forward, they were a large contributor to the economy. I think that it will only continue to be a major component that drives our local economy. Duncan and Baskins. How many folks have tried it? Yes? All right, great. I probably go there more than I should, but that's okay. This is another example of a new build and of new businesses that are coming to Prescott Valley. I spoke with the owner of Duncan not too long ago, and this is his highest performing store, and it was the best open that he's done out of 17 locations throughout the state of Arizona. So that shows that Prescott Valley residents, when new businesses come, they come out and they support them. Ready? Next door to that was Mod Pizza. Again, new build, but also restaurants are kind of moving into this fast casual space. It's kind of hard to set a hard and fast definition, but essentially you got fast food where you can just drive through and grab it. Then you've got, some people call it fast casual, some call it quick service restaurants. That it's your Paneras, it's your Mod Pizzas, it's the place where it's maybe a step above a fast food, but you don't have a server that comes to your table like you would in full service. This is very much the trend that restaurants are going into that quick service realm, and so it was great to see Mod Pizza open. I think there's one more. Yes, Flowerstone Cafe opened up in the entertainment district. in the former, I think it was Mama's Artisan Pizza before. This is a great example of a business that was able to backfill a smaller space. Most businesses are looking for somewhere around 1,500 square feet. These folks are able to make it work, and it works great inside of, I believe it was 900 square feet. And it's also an example of a local company. These folks were based out of Mayor, and they saw the economic opportunity that existed here in Prescott Valley and decided to relocate. Now, I would always also love to see secondary locations open and not necessarily take them out of a town, but it does go to show that folks notice the economic opportunity in our town, which is excellent. And then we'll talk about what's coming in 2020, because I think it's going to be a pretty exciting year. First off, why don't you do the next one too? All right, we have 2 new restaurants. So one of my large focuses last year was on bringing in new restaurants. 2 of them are opening, one tomorrow. The Iron Cask has its grand opening. They are a gastropub with a great kind of artisan food menu. They'll have craft beers, including one that they created that is their own brand. That's going to be over in the Crossroads Center in the Fortimer Native Grill and Wings. And it is a family-owned and operated business. It was a local resident. His son is a chef trained right here at Yavapai College. His soon-to-be daughter-in-law is a bartender and has been for many years. And he's an entrepreneur, businessman, and they all came together to make it work. And so, I encourage you to go ahead and give the Iron Cask a try. I don't have a firm open date on the next one, but I said January. It's not going to be January, but it should probably be the first couple of weeks of February. The Colt Barbecue Grill and Spirits. These folks have an existing location over in Cottonwood in Old Town, if anybody's ate there. It's absolutely fantastic food. I'm sure Iron Cask is too. I just haven't had a chance to eat there, but I've ate at Colt, and it is amazing. And so they're going to be, for folks that are a little bit longer time residents, it's in the former Fuddruckers. You don't want to mispronounce that one. Almost stumbled over that. But anyway, it's over in the entertainment district there on the corner of Park and the parking lot near Gabby's. Ready? All right, Circle K. I think I stood here last year and talked about how Circle K was going to be coming. Again, labor being what it is in short supply, and it is a little difficult to stay on schedule. They had hoped to open towards the end of 2019. We're looking at the end of February, beginning of March, that they'll open their location at Navajo and State Route 69. And then that will also prompt them to close the little postage stamp location that they have over at Robert Road and State Route 69. After they open their Navajo location, they're going to go down and break ground just down the road here at the corner of Glassford Hill and State Route 69 on the opposite side of the highway. And it will really bring some much needed large-scale new C-stores along that busy corridor. And then next one, Brady, co-locating with the one over here on Glassford and 69 will be a Discount Tire. So especially for those of you that have taken your motorhomes on up to the Discount Tire up in Prescott and found it, even with your personal vehicles, a little difficult to get into the parking lot, this will be another option for you. And of course, it will be here in Prescott Valley. The Heights, I mentioned that last year as well. Again, construction financing just being what it is, it backed things up a little bit. But they're hoping for a September 2020 open in the former Hagen's or Albertson's building that's down here on, Lake Valley and Pav Way. That will be an excellent addition to the community. Every Sunday, 1,000 folks coming down into our central business community, and after worship going out and grabbing something to eat, going to see a movie, whatever may sound fun. And then Alliance Hardware and Lumber. This is a great win over as we continue the expansion of the Glassford Hill Marketplace. This is done by Thane Signature Group. This is going to be located behind the Maverick on Glassford Hill as the first major anchor tenant to continue that expansion north. There'll also be another ocean blue car wash down there that'll be opening later on. It'll have a little bit of a different flair to it than the two that exist here on the highway. And so I think given the Alliance hardware, they're going to be, let's see, it's a 35,000 square foot hardware store with a major lumber component. I think that it's going to make the remaining areas around there very attractive, especially for pad development out in front of along Glassford Hill. And I think I got one more on there, right? Yes. Recently announced the Marriott Town Place and Suites. The most recent iteration is a 91 unit hotel that would go in along Main Street, right up near the fountain. That is going to fill a much needed void in town, especially in the way of extended stay hotels. And so we're really excited about that. And that's a joint venture with Beck Legacy Group and the Fane Signature Group. And then, all right, talk briefly on kind of my priorities moving forward. We'll go to the first one there, Brady. All right, so we have 2 new restaurants, which is great, but I do think we need to continue restaurant expansion. And both in the way of restaurants and in just general retail, I'm going to put a huge emphasis this year on identifying local and regional entities that may look to expand, whether it's out of the Verde Valley, out of Phoenix, out of Prescott, that wants to open a secondary location. And mostly focusing on infill development. Just again, new construction is tough. We already are going to see multiple things of new construction, so it's doable. But I'm going to focus hard too on filling these spaces along in the Glassford Hill Marketplace, over in Crossroads, and elsewhere in town. Brady. And now I say that about mostly infill development. The one caveat to that is I think it's time for a new grocery store. Does anybody agree with me? I thought so. I believe that when I moved here 3.5 years ago, there was a demonstrated economic need for a new grocery store in town. Unfortunately, the grocers were not really actively expanding at that time. They've started to slowly and tepidly get in and start expanding again. I want to get on that list. I mean, we're not going to necessarily see ground break this year, but I want to get on that list, and I do think it's time. And next one, Brady. Together with that, whether the grocery were to utilize the former Sam's Club or build new, as there are areas of town that I believe are underserved commercially and could use it. But regardless of whether it's grocery or something else, we need to find a direction for the former Sam's Club. Not that that's something that was lost on me last year, but unfortunately the price tag on that building has made it a difficult sell. But we'll work through it and we'll find a user. And so hopefully we'll again, maybe not have them in by the end of 2020, but have some direction for it. And last, continue touting the value of our opportunity zone. Our opportunity zone is essentially our central business district. It's a zone that gives some pretty significant federal tax benefits to folks that want to take advantage of it. I know Alliance will be able to take advantage of it. The hotel would be able to take advantage of those incentives. And most federal programs, especially economic development related, I don't really think that they do an enormous amount, but this one is a fantastic idea that was a piece of bipartisan legislation that was put together, and I really do believe that it can help to continue to accelerate development through Prescott Valley, filling those economic needs. And so that's where my priorities are, and I thank you very much for your attention this morning.
Our next speaker is David Everson with Mandalay Homes, with several locations, including Granville, correct? Towards the back of Granville, okay, be correct here. And going to come up and speak about how it is doing business with the town of Prescott Valley.
Is that what you heard me say? Oh. I think we'll get to that because that's actually very positive. So first of all, my name is David Everson. My wife Christy and I own Mandalay Homes, and we also operate Mandalay Homes. Christy's responsible for customer care and some of our sustainability measures, and then I'm responsible for construction. We've been having a blast. over the last couple of years. We had some nice growth and some great opportunities. But probably the most exciting thing for us is we had our 20th anniversary in August, and 10 of those years have been here in the Prescott Valley, Prescott area. Christy and I moved here about 7 years ago. Fell in love, and rented our home down in Phoenix, in South Phoenix, where we started. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen that house in 5 years. I don't even bother going down there. But over the course of the next couple of months, we'll finally be consolidated to the point where we'll have no activities in Phoenix whatsoever. Our focus just became this area, and we love it. The last of our projects down in Phoenix is an affordable housing community we built for the city of Phoenix and the Foundation for Senior Living. We're completing about 120 affordable housing units in South Phoenix, and that wraps up here in June. We've done a lot of that. We remodeled homes. We've worked for the Community Development Block Grant, and I think that regardless of what we're doing up here today and what I'm going to share with you, I think it's important that we redirect that focus and make that part of our business plan for this area. But we're going to need some help and some direction, but we'd love to be used as a resource in that. We've got a pretty good knowledge base. I think I just blew past a couple of things. So when we were building for the city of Phoenix, they had a mandate in their affordable housing that we had to create some sustainability measures and some energy efficiencies. It's part of the grant funds. So with that obligation, they sent me to Harvard for about 4 days. But I can say I've been there. But then they also gave me a whole bunch of tools. The Ford Foundation had put that on, so I can help understand a number of things. The impact of grant dollars in a community, but also the ability to innovate and put a better product to the market. And they subsidize really the future of home building through that program. And they gave me a myriad of consultants and a great budget, and we learned a lot about how a home can and really should be built. That was almost 10 years ago now. It won some national awards, Prescott Award for here in Arizona, which we're very proud of for sustainability. But we kind of embraced it. We decided to carry that forward without subsidy, and that is a big part of our innovation strategy and really the way we believe that the future holds for home building, and you'll see it coming our way. Next slide, please. I can't even read that, so skip. Skip. All right, so here's something to be excited about, and this is related to what's going on here in Prescott Valley. About 7 years ago, I started working on a project here. It was really in its infancy. It was the acquisition of some land, and I was just a sidecar to the conversation, but I supported where I could. That work put us in a position to be the builder at Jasper. There are two builders there. There's 350 finished lots in the first phase of roughly a 100 home community. We're hoping to be there for the next 10 years, trying to make a difference. We opened sales last night for our employees. We'll spend the next couple of weeks just dedicating an opportunity to the employees in our trade base to have first look at the homes so that they contributed so much to getting it done. And then we're going to go to the general public for sales here about February 15th. But here's what happened is Jasper, I don't know if you know this, Jasper 2 years ago made national and international news. It was in the Wall Street Journal, and Prescott Valley was in the Wall Street Journal because we, as a community, for the first time ever, from the development down, dedicated this community as a clean energy community. That's not greenwashing. There's a lot that goes into this, but basically it's a mandate It's a building standard. We're all familiar with architectural guidelines that the homeowners association may impose, and it's to create, it's ideally created to value, lifestyle, and consistency. Very rarely does the developer stand up and say, "Hey, I'm going to impose sustainability practices, and I'm going to do it for every builder that comes in here." And that's what Jasper has done. They've with our knowledge base that we've learned over the last 10 years, beginning with way back with the community development block grant, we crafted a very, very viable, sustainable practice of building homes. Every home has solar power, and every home is that we're building will have energy storage. This will be the first in the nation that does this from a community level down. You will see that Prescott Valley will be in the Wall Street Journal again here in another couple months, and it'll go international. The standard that we're building is about 27% better, even without the energy storage, than the 2020 initiative in California. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but it's created quite a stir because it's really difficult to get to. And it was government imposed. Everybody's scrambling to try to meet that standard. We're way better than that standard right here in town. And we did it voluntarily, and we should all be proud of it. So the models are now just wrapping up completion. We're in the middle of a heated debate on color. Like when I say heated, it's heated. So I got so angry one day I just painted everything white. And so if you go out there today, you'd see every home white, but that's just a pun. So the model complex should be open up here on February 15th. And then this week they started grading for the community center. It's about a $10 million build. It's a significant investment. They start grading, and it's got 2 pools, a spa, tennis courts, pickleball, exercise facility. And it's a community amenity that was funded by the developer. There's no CFDs out here. There's very little debt. It's a privilege to be part of what they're doing. And I think it's going to be very successful. So let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, let's go. You can rattle through a couple of the models and stuff like that. But one of the things that's significant as well is when they started this development, the first thing they dedicated a trailhead that they're going to be developed here in the future phase. So they dedicated some land for that. But the first thing they did before they even started much of the development is they put all their time into the Iron King Trail. Well, sustainability practices really start from the ground up. And if you go out to Jasper, what you're going to see is this look very natural. They've got a lot of terrain, a lot of elevation changes. That was no accident. They moved about 1 million yards of dirt. Well, that sounds horrible. I mean, if you talk to somebody that was, like, why would you move all that dirt and create all this disruption? Well, the first thing they did is they windrowed all the grasses, and then they grabbed and harvested. Then he grabbed all the topsoil and harvested and stored that. Then they moved the dirt in order to create some very, very natural terrain and elevation changes, sometimes up to 30 feet of fill and different shit. And then when they're complete, they went back and they took these windrow grasses and topsoil, and they didn't just blow hydro seed over the scarred earth. They top dressed it and used all the harvest materials and put it all back. And they did this pretty much late last summer, maybe midsummer. And if y'all come out there and look, it's almost already hard to tell that 30-foot cut compared to the hillside. It's absolutely amazing. That's expensive to do. They don't brag about it, but I'm going to because I'm proud of it. But really nice. So beyond that, as far as economic development is concerned, we'll build within Jasper We'll do about $3 million a month in construction. About 80% of that goes to local trade partners. So we still have some trades that do come up from the valley, but most of those employ local labor. But 80% of them are local. About $200,000 a month in permits. So it's a good economic driver, and it should give us a pretty steady, reliable housing inventory that we can be proud of moving into the future. Real quick, is there any questions? Because I'm just up here rattling. All right. Well, we're really pleased to be here. We thank the Chamber for letting me speak. I'll tell you what, the one thing that got us to the ability to do what we've done is every time I walk into the town offices and I say I have this crazy idea or I want to try to pull this off or pull that off, 100% support. This community has stretched all the boundaries, and normally you get pushback for something different. 100% embraced. I don't even finish the sentence about what we want to do, and they're, yeah, we can probably figure that out. So thank you very much to the town.
A little bit. Jody in promotions and Chuck in traffic are both here with us. And then folks that you hear a lot more from, DJ Phone, who hosts Q&A with DJ Monday through Thursday on KQ&A at 2 o'clock. And then our longest surviving employee, Bill Monroe, who's been doing this for 25 years plus. And also, I believe he is the longest serving member of the media when it comes to covering the town of Prescott Valley Town Council, right? They have a chair with a plate with his name on it. No, I wanted to take a moment to not only recognize the growth here in Prescott Valley, but to reflect on the growth as it has affected us. And Arizona's Hometown Radio Group, we were and still are the owners of the first radio station that was ever licensed to Prescott Valley, and that is KPPV 106.7 FM The Mix. PPV, of course, standing for Prescott Valley, in case you haven't figured that out yet. And from that single acorn, we grew a little forest of radio stations that, by taking advantage of the opportunities that existed for growth and also the changes in the FCC regulations that allowed us to make more radio stations within a community, so that now we're able to represent not just adult contemporary music for at work, but also news, talk, sports, classic country with KDDL, Jack FM, which seems to be everybody's favorite radio station these days, which I'm happy about. The only Spanish radio station in northern and central Arizona, Juan 107.1, and our newest addition to the flock, BadassBluesPrescottValley.com, which is an online station here, but is over the air in Lake Havasu, where we also own 2 other stations. And we also have the only radio station up at the Grand Canyon. So that is our 9-station group that started right here in Prescott Valley with one single station mounted on a telephone pole next to the studio on Robert Road and Jackie Drive. So dreams do come true. Things can happen as long as you're looking for growth opportunities. The one thing that I wanted to also add that was a huge benefit to the town of Prescott Valley and to the community as a whole, and I'm not saying that it started here, but I am saying that when Larry Tarkowski and I went out and had a coffee about 3-4 years ago and started talking about the need to marshal the communities together to help build a new airport terminal in Prescott, when I got to sit and be the master of ceremonies earlier this month at the groundbreaking for that new terminal, I was just so jazzed and pleased about this new this new improvement. And really, without the town of Prescott Valley's cooperation, it could not have happened. The FAA gave us $10 million to build this thing, and part of what allowed this to be one of 4 successful funding requests out of 167 nationwide was because of the cooperation that we received from the town of Prescott Valley. So congratulations, town of Prescott Valley and Quad Cities for that. Now, there hasn't always been cooperation between the communities, mind you, but we are in a totally different era today, and like Mayor Kell said, as long as you forget about your differences and work together for the common good, a lot of great things can happen. And I see that the years ago when some of the grumblers in that other city down the road would say that Prescott Valley should be paying us a royalty for using our name in its name, and other things like that, that really build lots of kinship. No, that's not kinship, but it builds a lot of that kind of stuff. And so it is really awesome that the people that we have in place now in all of the Quad City communities recognize the fact we can get a lot more accomplished working together. And it really doesn't matter who gets the credit, just as long as things get done. And it's really awesome. So, I want to focus on the growth of our radio station group with regard to the community by focusing on one station, and it is KQNA 1130 AM News Talk Sports, the talk of the Quad Cities. Now, this is an interesting study in what you can do with a single entity. KQNA, when we first started, could only broadcast from sunrise to 2 hours after local sunset, and that was it. So literally, we were on the air in the summertime, maybe as early as 5:15 in the morning, and we could stay on the air till maybe 9 o'clock at night. Well, in the wintertime, when the sun goes down sooner, we had to go down to low power at like 5:15, and we were off the air at 7:15. Well, thanks to some changes at the FCC that recognized that AM radio stations like ours, serve the public interest, they allowed us to add not one but 2 24-hour FM frequencies to our station for KQNA. So you not only can listen to us on 1130 AM during the day, but 24 hours a day on 95.5 FM in Prescott Valley and Cottonwood, and 99.9 FM in Prescott. And then we are also worldwide, streaming live on your phone, tablet, or computer at kqna.com. This has literally mushroomed our the ability for us to distribute our programming everywhere and anywhere. And thank you, Town of Prescott Valley, for imposing the cell phone ban, which means that you now have to listen to the radio as opposed to sitting there talking on your phone. So we really do appreciate that. How many of you have Bluetooth in your car? Bluetooth, quite a few of you. Now, any one of our radio stations, you can stream on your phone through your Bluetooth and be listening to it not just here in Prescott Valley, but anywhere in the world. So, I'm just saying, we're making it as easy as possible for you to integrate your media with what has been considered traditional. There's nothing traditional about what we do. We just super serve our community. Tuesday is Prescott Valley Day on KQNA. And we start out in the first Tuesday of the month with highlighting what's going on at the Humboldt Unified School District. And then the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month with Marnie Uhl functioning as our host. We are talking Prescott Valley Chamber Talk on Talk of the Town. And then the third Tuesday of the month, Mayor Kell is the host, talking about what's happened at the town of Prescott Valley. So every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, you can tune in to KQNA on your radio, on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. You can even come by the station and listen in, if you want. But you hear everything that's been going on in Prescott Valley every Tuesday on our stations. And likewise, we offer the same opportunities to Chino Valley, to Prescott, and also to Cottonwood during the course of the week. So I wanted you to think of us not just as traditional media, but actually as media that has evolved as technological advances have been made. We are there now being able to distribute our locally based programming everywhere and anywhere, making it as easy as possible for you to be a part of what we do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so one of the things that we do as a service to our community by having our solar powered antenna site on Glassford Hill, it's like I said, if we have a major power outage, how are you going to find out, what's going on? Well, we have the ability to stay on the air while everything, and I mean everything. Remember when they cut the big cable between Phoenix and Black Canyon City, and everything went out? The internet, CenturyLink, I mean, you name it. We lost all other forms of communication, but not us. We were still on the air. And so we're kind of like that, we're kind of like that reliable source of not fake news, but real news, where someone takes 100% responsibility for the content, does not rely on sexual innuendo and train wrecks in order to attract an audience, that we are in fact a reflection of you as the community. And so that's what you hear on our stations 24 hours a day. And we thank you for your support. This is our 35th year of broadcasting here in Prescott Valley. And I've got to say that this was not a difficult choice to make, but when we went about looking for a frequency in Arizona, there were two available. There was one in Ajo and one in Prescott Valley. Being the alphabetical people we are, we called Ajo first. We called the Ajo Chamber of Commerce, and their phone was disconnected. True story. Called Prescott Valley, they answered the phone. We're one of the fastest growing communities in the Southwest. Our population is doubling every 5 years. Really? How many people live in Prescott Valley now? 3,200. 3,200. Now my high school graduating class had 1,000. So this is kind of like a different thing for me. But nonetheless, when we came here, the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce was housed in the little photomat booth next door to Oliva's Mexican restaurant. That was the Prescott Valley Chamber's headquarters. So you can see, obviously, that the growth that has affected us, that has affected us all, that has affected this community, has been totally good. And I will remind you that when you spend time in the left turn lane from Highway 69 onto Glassford Hill Road, and you're waiting, waiting. Just think about this. The more time you spend in traffic, that's the more opportunities you have to listen to Arizona's hometown radio group. So don't get frustrated by the traffic. Just think, boy, that Sanford, his staff, they're having a great day. We started with 3 people, and now we have a staff of 25. So we are definitely a reflection of the growth that has propelled us all. So I want to talk a little bit of economics with you now. And first of all, I want to start by asking, just as a general question, how many of you think there's a better than 50-50 chance that our economy in the United States will go into a recession? In 2020, a better than 50-50 chance. Okay. You're nuts. So anybody that raised their hand, take the hand back, put it in your pocket, don't raise it again. Okay, first of all, you have to know what a recession is. So I'm going to give you the textbook definition of what a recession is. It is negative GDP. We all follow the GDP to some degree, right? Right now, our GDP is somewhere in the mid to upper twos, 2.3, 2.5, 2.7% annual growth. Well, if that was a minus number, -1 or whatever, for 6 consecutive months, 2 quarters of negative GDP is what a recession is. Anybody want to recast their vote on the chances for a recession in 2020? There's absolutely no way on God's green earth that we are going to be anything but in positive growth for 2020 and 2021. I don't care what, like Cal said, I don't care what happens in Washington. They can screw up the political system as much as they want to, but the fact is that as long as pro-growth, free enterprise policies dominate what we do with our domestic economy, you see the results. How easy is it for you to find help right now? There's not a lot of people out looking for work. So, and that is an indication of the health of the economy, is you don't have a lot of people looking for work. Now, does this mean that we can just, say, job done, we're good, don't have to do anything now, just let it ride? Well, according to, I guess it's Sir Isaac Newton, the only way you can coast is downhill. And so you really don't want to get too comfortable with the idea that, hey, things are good, and they're going to stay good, and we're just going to kind of ride the wave. You want to be looking for opportunities for growth and innovation. And one of those things, believe it or not, is to actually go out and promote yourself via advertising. And the one thing that we're able to do that other media can't do is we can advertise you repetitively, day after day after day after day. We will make you famous. We made Marnie Uhl famous by giving her our own show every month, month after month after month, year after year after year. And this is what we do. This is what we do. We make people famous. We make their businesses top of the mind awareness because they can't escape us. We're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on every device you possibly have, and even ones that haven't been invented yet. We're going to be on all that stuff. So, really, this is an investment in yourself. I know it's self-serving and all that, but the fact is, I've seen so many businesses that have been advertising with us for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. Al at Owl's Auto Body will not change his commercial no matter how much I beg him, because everybody that walks into his store with the keys, he's got a collision shop, and his ad says, when you're driving and you get into an accident, one of two things happen. Either someone hit your car, or you hit somebody else's car. Oh. Well, he has people that hand him the keys and go, yeah. And it's like, I literally see him once a year. I go, I know what the answer is, but I'm going to ask you. He's had the same commercial now running for 15 years. So has Yavapai Block. Yavapai Block talks about, he's standing on the Great Wall of China, and it's made from block. So if you want your building project to last forever, invest in Yavapai Block. I mean, so these are the kinds of things that we accomplish every day in consulting small businesses on how to grow their business by creating new demand, getting new customers, getting people curious about their business. It's one thing to stand there and tell them everything they already know about you. Your fast, friendly service, big selection, low prices, their address, come see us, or your phone number, and you're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and all the other useless stuff that you would automatically assume. But we tell you stuff about these business people, what you guys do. We tell you stuff that people don't know, and it makes them curious. They think, I don't have to go to Amazon. I'm going to go call the local business, and even if I got to pay a couple bucks more for something, I'm paying somebody locally that's creating a job, that's creating sales tax, that's an engineer for our community. And that's why, it's real easy to just sit there at home and buy stuff off the internet. I'm telling you, you want to kill this economy, that's the best way to do it. You're better off shopping local, making that investment with your community partners, because that is literally the engine that runs it. Even if you have to buy from one of the big box stores, they still pay sales tax to this community. So I would if you're gonna go online to buy something from Walgreens, just go to the Walgreens store here and just buy it in person. It's much better for the community to do that, and the price is the same. And you never know, you might make a friend. All right, well, anyway, my time is up. You can, of course, contact us at a radio station or via the internet. That is the one good reason to use the internet. And we would absolutely love to sit down with you and give you some ideas as to how we can market your business and focus on 2020 through the lens of local radio. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanford Cohen with Arizona's Hometown Radio Group, the program sponsor for this breakfast. And although we have finished with our speakers, first of all, I'd like to say, didn't they do a great job? Didn't you learn a lot? Thank you all for your interest in your community and getting up bright and early. Have a very prosperous day and a great 2020.